Hi, Sydney. Great post for this week. I just had something really quick to say about yours and this idea of understanding distinctions between each country. Because in my post for this week, I talked about how the countries have, even though they're different countries, they've all seen a trickle down effect or some of the same ongoing issues, whether the issues are political with the president reigning for a long period of time, economic with high inflation and that sort of thing, or social with being denied basic rights, especially with women and stuff like that. And I think what's so great about your post is that you talked about these transitions in progress and how even though each country has faced the same problems, it's still important to go by a case by case basis, like you talked about, and understanding these distinctions because every country needs something more than the other country. Um, like Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia has a pretty decent relationship with the United States, and um, however, women have little to no rights in Saudi Arabia. So Saudi Arabia might need to work for more social issues. Whereas in Egypt, we've seen an ongoing problem with the president. Mubarak, sorry, I have the hiccups. Mubarak just lost power last year in February, and so they've had a long reign of presidents reigning for a substantial amount of time. One was even over 30 years, I think. So Egypt might need to focus more on political. So it's definitely these areas that make these countries distinct, and one might need more of the other. But I think the textbook author for this week really puts that in perspective. And I think you talked about this a little bit in your post, but I just wanted to read this passage that the textbook author mentioned. And it says, um, Tunisians will need to grapple challenges. Tunisians will need to grapple with the class divisions manifesting themselves in the country's continuing political unrest. Egyptians must redesign their institutions of government, like mentioned, and Libyans will need to recover from a bloody civil war. So I think, as far as politics, each country is different. Each has different distinctions that is calling for different changes within the countries. But I think as an overall perspective of Middle East politics, we can say that change is needed as far as politics in the Middle East. Change is needed in almost every single Middle Eastern country because of the ongoing political issues throughout almost all the countries. However, we can also say that this change is difficult to come by because many do not want this change. We've seen civilians and citizens that have wanted this change. However, politicians and presidents do not want this change. So there has to be some middle ground. There has to be a willing to change, and there has to be an understanding of understanding these distinctions that makes each country different, and going about change the proper way and where change is needed. So that's what I'm grasping with this overall concept of Middle Eastern politics. We need change within Middle Eastern politics. It's just we need different change in each country, and there's an unwillingness to make these changes um, in some areas. So it'll be really interesting to see where Middle Eastern politics goes as the years progress and we go into the future. So I've enjoyed having you in class this semester, and take care. Thanks.